අයිබෝන්. So today's lesson is going to focus on prepositions, especially used along with people and things. So let us have a look at some of the prepositions. Now the first one we're looking at would be with. Okay? With is used to refer to two or more people being together or two or more things being used at the same time, right? So let us have a look at it. With is being used to refer to two or more people being together or two or more things being used at the same time, right? Now let's have a look at an example. Since Meena was doubtful of the way to Billy's house, I went with her. So what happened? Two people along went together. They were together. So I went with her. I knew you liked mandarin, but I didn't know you ate them with salt and chili. Okay, so two things that go together, salt and chili, right? So mandarin is something like an orange, the smaller version of it, right? So I knew you liked mandarin, but I didn't know that you ate them with salt and chili. So this first example is talking about two people being together. The second example, two things being used at the same time. All right. Let's have a look at the second use of it. Now, with and of are used to refer possession. Okay? Let's have a look at it. Of refers to describe the characteristics of a person or thing that it possesses. He has a heart of gold. He has it. Possesses means belonging, having it, okay, holding it, right? So if a characteristic needs to be described of a person or a thing that the thing or the person possesses, then of course we can use the preposition of, right? He has a heart of gold. The statue is an object of great beauty. Okay, so again, it has it, okay? It belongs, the great beauty belongs to the statue. Therefore, you could use of. Now, having a look at with, okay, it refers to describe the physical features or behavior of a person or thing, or to state what is attached to that person or thing. That is a bit long, right? So either you use with to describe the physical features or the behavior of a person or thing, or to state what is attached to the person or the thing. So let's have a look at some examples. Suimal's sister is that lady with long curly hair. So that is a physical feature that person has. Since it's fall from a table, my pet raccoon has... Since it's fall from a table, my pet raccoon has been walking with a limp. Now that is a behavior, right? So it's fallen from the table, so it's going with a little limp. So that is a behavior, right? Timothy is a boy with an eye patch. Now that is kind of something that is attached to that person, or rather that person always has the eye patch. So it is a state that person is in, right? So therefore you could use it along with. The last one, they have a house with a nice view of the mountains. Again, it is something attached along with the house, right? So therefore, you could use the preposition with. So if you see here the examples, with is used to describe physical features of a person or a thing, right? Or behavior of a person or a thing. If not, to state what is attached to a person or a thing, right? So, moving on, let's have a look at without, okay? Now, without refers to describe the opposite of with. So, I with this person, with this thing, without it. It is the opposite of with. So let's have a look at an example. She is a woman without a conscience, right? That means she doesn't know how or why things are right and wrong. Okay, conscience is when you know what is right and wrong. So she's a person without such a conscience, right? She does not have a conscience. Right? Without. The next one, June was finally able to cycle without her training wheels. So that means June does not need her training wheels now to cycle. Okay? So without refers to the same thing as with, but when I say same, it is obviously the opposite of with. Okay? Right, now let's have a look at the other two words, from and like. From and like are used as opposites when comparisons are made between people or things. Okay, so let's have a look at some examples. Like refers to show similarity, okay, the sameness, right? The sofa looks exactly like the one I saw in Paradise Road, except that this isn't made of leather, okay? So here, when you want to show or talk about similarity of a person or a thing, you use like. So this sofa looks exactly like another one that I saw. So as the definition tells you, from and like are used as opposites when comparisons are made between people and things, right? So the first one, like, refers to similarity. From refers to show lack of similarity. Okay, so that's like an opposite, lack of similarity. You are very different from your brother. You are an extrovert, but he is an introvert. Okay, so you know an extrovert is a person who loves to talk with other people, go out, and is a very chitty chatty person, right? But an introvert is a person to himself. He doesn't like to talk that much. He doesn't like to go out that much, right? So, if you saw the examples here, like refers to the similarity, whereas from refers to lack of similarity. Okay. His signature on this document differs from that on his other document. Okay. So his signature on this document is different to the other one. So this again shows lack of similarity. Okay. That is why, if you can see here, it says from and like are used as opposites when comparisons are made between people and things, right? So like talks about the similarity, whereas from talks about the lack of similarity. Okay? Right. The next bit. A verb can go with two different prepositions, right? So a verb can go along with two different prepositions. The preposition which is to be used depends on whether the object is a person or a thing, right? So here, let us look at some examples and understand what the theory is trying to tell us. The first poem differs from her second poem in style. Okay, so now what is this trying to tell you? That her first poem is different from the second poem, right? So lack of similarity. Now you have to remember, so this is the point we were talking about. Now what does this tell you? The verb can go with two different prepositions. Okay, it doesn't have to be the same thing. I mean, any verb can go with different prepositions, right? The preposition which is to be used depends on whether the object is a person or a thing. So if it's a person, it's different. If it's a thing, it's different, right? I differ with you on the issue of capital punishment. Okay, so here he's saying, well, I don't really agree with you and I have a different view in terms of capital punishment. Okay, verbs and also adjectives that take different prepositions for person and thing include the following, right? Now let's have a look at some examples. If it is a person, you say agree with, apologize to, complain to, if it is a person. However, if it is a thing, you say agree about, agree on, agree to, apologize for, complain about. Now you can see how it is different. Okay? Agree with, apologize to, complain to, right? Whereas if you take the things, it is agree about, agree on, agree to, apologize for, complain about. So you say, I agree with Maya, person. Okay? Apologize to your brother, person. Complain to your teacher, person. Whereas if it's a thing, agree on the topic. Okay? Apologize for your mistake, a thing, right? Complain about the problems in the country. So again, it's a thing, not a person, right? If they're adjectives, right, angry with, if it's a person, disappointed with, pleased with. So you can see, adjectives go along with, right? And then the verbs that go along with too. Oops. So if it is a thing, you're angry about something, you're disappointed about something, or you're disappointed at something, or you're disappointed with something, okay? You're pleased at something, you're pleased about something, or you're pleased with something, okay? So I'm angry with my sister, a person. I'm disappointed with my best friend, a person. I'm pleased with my aunt giving me a nice present, okay? Again, person. I'm angry about not being able to buy a new car, right? So I'm angry about something, right? I'm disappointed with the current situation in the country. So you're disappointed about something, okay? I'm pleased about my work, about again something and not a person, right? So remember that you could use verbs verbs and also adjectives take different prepositions for a person and a thing. Okay, so now here I told you a verb can go with two different prepositions, right? The preposition which is to be used depend on whether it is a person or a thing, right? So her first poem differs from the second one. I differ with you on the issue of capital. So again, differences are there, but if it is a thing if it is with a person, I differ with you. Right? You don't say I differ from you. So that is why I said the verb can go with two different prepositions, right? Here remember the next point that verbs and adjectives take different prepositions for a person and a thing. That is what we were looking at here. Verbs with a person, how the verbs go along with a thing, whereas the adjectives, how does it go along with a person and how do the adjectives work along with things, right? Let us have a look at the next two prepositions, or rather the next few prepositions. So here we have for and against, right? Now for and against are used to show whether or not someone or something is supported, right? So if you are agreeing or supporting for someone or something, it is for. And if you're not supporting something or someone, it is against, right? Now, at is the next preposition, is used with verbs like shout to show a negative attitude or negative attitudes, right? Or actions towards someone or something. And to is used with some words to show neutral or positive attitudes or actions, right? So, let us have a look at some examples. James voted for school hours to be shortened, but Bessie voted against school hours being shortened. Okay, so now what has happened? They had an idea of reducing the number of hours that school was to be held, right? So James said, yes, it's good to reduce the number of hours, whereas Bessie said, no, I'm not supporting that idea. I don't want the number of hours to reduce, right? So for James supported the idea, right? Whereas Bessie did not support the idea. Okay, so that's why it tells James wanted less school hours, but Bessie didn't want such less hours. Mr. Harrison shouted at the sheep. Okay, so negative. He was angry about it. So he shouted and said, oh, right? He was angry. Mr. Harrison shouted at the sheep which had wandered in his garden. So he just entered the garden and going about. So he was angry about it. Mr. Harrison shouted to his brother to be careful when crossing the roads. That was rather like a positive one and said, oh, be careful. Don't cross the road like that. So it was more like a positive comment. Okay. Now coming back to what was said here, for and against are used to show whether or not, right, an idea is supported or you're supporting someone, right? So for is to say, yes, you support the person or the idea or the thing. Against says, oh no, we're not supporting that person or that idea. Okay? At is used with verbs like shout to show you have a negative attitude or behavior towards someone or something, but you use to with some verbs to show a neutral or positive attitude. All right. So, moving on, find out why is B correct and why is A wrong. Okay, so she normally eats ice cream of honey. We don't say usually of honey, but you could say she normally eats ice cream with honey along with something. Okay, so now to do this, you must remember the uses of all of these prepositions, right? So you use with to refer to two or more people being together or two or more things being used at the same time. You use of to refer to characteristics of a person or a thing that it possesses. You use with to describe the physical features or the behavior of someone. So she likes to eat it with honey, it's a behavior. Or to state what is attached to that person or that thing, right? Without means it's the opposite of with. Then we have from and like, okay? So like shows similarity, okay? From refers to lack of similarity. So a verb can go with two different prepositions, right? It depends if it is a person or thing. So her first poem differs from the second poem. It's a thing. I differ with you, okay? Because it's a person. So you use it with different prepositions depending on whether it is something or someone, if it's a person or a thing. Now, verbs and adjectives also take different prepositions for people as well as things, and we had a look at a table, right? For verbs, we had a look at one table, and for adjectives, we had a look at another table. Then we came with for and against. So, for is to support someone or something. Against means to say, no, I don't support that someone or something. At is used with verbs like shout to show a negative behavior, whereas to is used with some verbs to show the positive or neutral attitude, right? So here, it's something of a behavior that she likes to eat ice cream with honey, okay? Next one. Susan's sister is a lady of great spirit. Susan's sister is a lady with great spirit. Now, why is A wrong? Why is B correct? Okay. Now, let's have a look at why. Okay. Of refers to or describes the characteristics. So that is what that person has, okay? Of. So you can't say she is with this kind of characteristic, okay? Because if it is a characteristic that that person has, okay, it has to be of. Now, I'm sure most of you would have been using, oh, Susan's sister is a lady with great spirit. I'm sure most of you would have done it, okay? But please remember to use the proper prepositions, okay? It's important for your speaking. It's also important for your writing. Maybe not always in your writing tasks, right? But if you're doing general and you want to talk about someone and how good they are, right? Could come in handy, right? So please practice using the proper prepositions. This could be very tricky sometimes, even for us. You've got to be very careful. Next one. She is same like me, she is like me. So similarity, okay, you don't have to say same because it's obviously similarity, Okay, she's like me. Similarity. So you don't have to use the word same to refer to the similarity. Next one. Okay, 4B is correct, 4A is wrong. Let's see why. The angry mother threw a cloth to her daughter and told her to dry the plates. So, to her daughter. The angry mother threw a cloth at. Now, is this a positive or a negative feedback? Okay. The angry mother, if it's angry, are you happy about it? Is it going to be positive? No. So, if you're angry, then you use it with at. So, this is correct. 2, as we spoke about it just a few minutes ago, 2 is referred to show neutral or positive attitudes. Angry mother is not happy or not neutral. Okay, angry mother is definitely negative. So therefore, it should be at her daughter. Alright, let's have a look at an activity. Fill in the blanks with the words in the box. Each word may be used more than once. So here you have against, at, for, from, like, of, to, with. All the prepositions we were looking at in this lesson. So you could use it more than once, no problem. But make sure you select the appropriate preposition. Alright? So, he amazes me because he does his school work such enthusiasm. Okay, so what is it? So I like to see him, it amazes me, right? Because he does his school work with such positive attitude, enthusiasm. So what do you think the preposition would be? While I'm reading it, try to write down the answers in your notebook. The tall young man walks blank a stoop. Zain is exactly his father in his habits. So similarity, okay? Zain is exactly, I'm going to do one with you, like his father in his habits. So we're talking about similarity, okay? Fourth one, the mean girls laughed me when I tripped and fell. Negative, no? Someone has tripped and fallen and they're laughing. Mean means horrible people, right? So if it's negative behavior or negative attitude, the mean girls laughed at me. You don't say they laughed to me because it is not positive or neutral, okay? He likes spaghetti, lots of meat and cheese on it. So 2 or more things along with it. Think about it. What is the answer? The jewelry maker is unable to distinguish the fake necklace, the genuine ones. Okay? My sister never forgives those who go her wishes. She is a woman who has gone through a period blank great pain. I am blank the motion to introduce psychology as a subject in schools as this promotes understanding between learners. Kathy tossed a ball blank the dolphin and watched as it cleverly leaped up and caught it. Okay. Now, think about what are the answers, right? Please make sure you jot down the answers before I actually discuss them. All right. So I hope you would have jotted down all the answers. Now let us have a look at the answers. With, like, at, with, from, against, of, for, to. Let's have a look at the answers one by one. He amazes me because he does his schoolwork with such enthusiasm. Okay, now what is the rule? You have to remember the rules to do this, right? You just can't write a word. So is it two people or two things? No, definitely there is no two things or two people, right? It describes a physical feature or behavior. Now what is that? Is it a physical feature? No, but enthusiasm is a behavior, and that is why you would use with here. Right? Oops. So that is why you would use with here. Okay? The tall young man walks with a stoop. Again, with. What is that? A physical feature. He bends forward and backwards, right? So the tall young man walks with a stoop, physical feature. Okay? So coming back here, oops. We've got with, like, and I've done number 4, at as well. So let's have a look at the 5th one. He likes spaghetti, lots of meat and cheese. Two things at the same time. So then what is the answer? With. The jewelry maker is unable to distinguish the fake necklace genuine ones. Now let's have a look at what the answer is going to be, right? Can you see this one? Refers to show lack of similarity, okay? If it is the same, then like. But is he talking the same thing about the same thing? No. It's with the genuine ones and the fake ones. So the lack of similarity. So therefore, the answer should be from. Okay, oops. Gone a long way. The jewelry maker is unable to distinguish the fake necklace from the genuine ones. My sister never forgives those who go. She never forgives that. So, who go against her wishes. So, anyone who goes against her, she doesn't forgive them, right? So let's see if we've got those answers with, from, against. Okay? Next ones. She is a woman who has gone through a period of great pain. Now, why would we say of great pain? Let's see, okay? Why would we say of? Characteristics, something that that person possesses, right? So she's actually had it for a long time and she possesses that. So therefore, we would use that preposition. Oops, I'm so sorry, I've gone a long way. So she is a woman who has gone through a period of great pain. Okay? I am positive, right? Positive means I support that idea that, psychology as a subject should be introduced to schools because it helps the learners and it helps us to build that understanding between the learners. So therefore, I am for the motion. Positive or supported attitude. Rather than positive, I would say supported. Okay? Or supportive towards that motion, right? Kathy tossed a ball to. The action to. okay, used along with certain verbs to show this is of course neutral. There's nothing positive about it. This is a neutral action. So, of, for, to. Now I hope you understand why these are the answers, and if you've written anything else, why is that not correct? Okay, so I've discussed all the answers with you. Double check to see if you've got the same answers. All right. So moving on, circle the letter or the letters of the correct sentences. Now sometimes only one sentence will be correct. Sometimes more than one sentence will be correct. So what do you have to do? Write down the correct number letter, right? For say example number 1, B and C are correct, put B and C in your notebook. Or if only A is correct, put down A in your notebook, right? Let's have a look at it. Linda fought against the proposal to make 10 employees redundant. Linda fought at the proposal to make 10 employees redundant. Linda fought with the proposal to make 10 employees redundant. Okay, so 10 employees redundant means to send them out of work. So Linda said for that proposal, no, she's not going to support it. So she was against it. Okay, so A is correct. Think about if any of the other sentences are correct. Okay. The president described the chief guest as a man to his word. The president described the chief guest as a man like his word. The president described the chief guest as a man of his word. Which preposition or prepositions do you think are correct? Alright, so let us have a look at the next one. Now, if you need more time, please pause the video here, right? And jot down the answers before you move to question number 3. Alright. Question number 3. Sonia accepted the challenge to lead the team with any hesitation. Sonia accepted the challenge to lead the team from any hesitation. Sonia accepted the challenge to lead the team without any hesitation. Question number 4. Jem has a sense of humor like her mother. Jem has a sense of humor from her mother. Jem has a sense of humor with her mother. So what do you think is the most appropriate answer? Alright, so let us have a look at question number 5, right? Now this has a few different verbs, right? As well as the prepositions are different. So carefully go through all 3 sentences. The public was for the total conservation of the forested area. The public differed with the land office on the issue of lodging permits in the area. The public spoke out against those who wanted the land office to issue lodging permits. So think about the 3 sentences. They're not the same like the others. They're different along with the different verbs, right? If it's a person or a thing. And then think about it, the verbs, the adjectives, right? As well as the prepositions. Helena snapped to the little boy who was throwing a tantrum. Helena snapped at the little boy who picked up her gold medal. Helena snapped against the little boy who refused to sit down. Again, 3 different sentences. Think about it. So I hope you would have completed the answers by now. Let us have a look at the answers, right? First one A, second one C, third one C, fourth one A, Fifth one, A, B and C. All three are correct. Sixth one, B. Now let us go and have a look at the answers, right? So first one, of course, I have done it with you, so therefore there's nothing to think about it. We've done it. Let's have a look at the second one, right? The president described the chief guest as a man to his word. Do we say to his word? When do we use to? Now, if you can't remember, please go back like I'm going and then refer to it. There's nothing to worry and think, oh, I don't know it, because we've done it. To is to show positive or neutral attitude, okay? But coming here, can we say to his word? No. It's something that he, what? Has. So which one would we use? Describes a characteristic. He possesses it. He has that characteristic. He keeps or he sticks to his word. So therefore, which one do we select? Man like, no. Man to, no. Man of his word, yes, because that is a characteristic he possesses, right? It's not talking about any similarity again, so B is wrong. Right, now Sonia accepted the challenge to lead the team without, okay? That means she didn't think about it twice. She said, yes, I'm going to accept this challenge. So C is the only appropriate answer. Jem has a sense of humor like her mother. So when we say like her mother, it is a similarity, okay? Therefore, A is the only correct answer. Okay, so let's have a look at the answers. Yes, we have got C, C and A, right? Now we're going to have a look at A, B and C. The public was for the total conservation of the forested area. So they said yes, they were going to support it. They were for it. Okay, so supported it, correct. Okay, the public differed with the land office on the issue of lodging permits in that area. So let's have a look at the rule there. Just before we say that this is the answer, right? Okay, so with or a state of what is attached to that something. Okay, so because if you take with here, it's not used to refer to two or more things, right? So it is the state. So coming back to our answer, right? The public differed with the land office on the issue of lodging permits in that area. So yes, correct. The public spoke out against. Against means they did not support it. So that's also correct. So therefore, A, B and C are all correct. When you say Helena snapped, okay, snap means all of a sudden she started shouting. She just, oh, don't do that. Okay, so you know, kind of snapping at someone, right? So Helena snapped too. I think that is a negative behavior. So it would go along with at. Okay. Oops, I think it should have been C here. Sorry about that. Okay, so I shouldn't have circled A. I should have circled C. Okay. So Helena snapped at the little boy who picked up her gold medal. Okay, so that was kind of a negative attitude or behavior. All right. So coming back, I think we've had a look at all of these answers. A, C, C, A, and then A, B, C for number 5, and then B for number 6. All right, so now you know why only these answers are correct and why are the others incorrect. All right, so Let's move on. Rewrite the sentences that are incorrect. Okay. So, ever since he got sick, he has had difficulty of his breathing. The criticisms leveled against the building of the dam were valid. Number 3. Bailey's dream is to go on a cruise ship of its own, swimming pool, cinema, restaurants, video games, arcade. 4th one. He loves animals, so he's with all scientific experiments that subject them to pain. The tour guide yelled against her tour group members not to sit too close to the edge of the mountain. Okay? All right. So, what do you think are the answers, right? Now, ever since he got sick, he has had difficulty of his breathing. So, it's his own characteristic. So, let's have a look at the answer, right? Ever since he got sick, comma, he has had difficulty with his breathing. Okay, we don't say of his breathing, that's wrong. The criticisms leveled against, yes, I think against is correct, and this is a correct one. There's nothing wrong with the sentence, right? Let's have a look at the 3rd one. Bailey's dream is to go on a cruise ship of its own swimming pool. Wrong, okay. With 2 or more things, so Bailey's dream is to go on a cruise ship with its own swimming pool, comma, cinema, comma, restaurants, and video games arcade. Okay, the next one. He loves animals, so he's with all experiments. No, so he's against, okay? He doesn't support that. So he loves animals, so he's against all scientific experiments that subject them to pain, right? The tour guide yelled against her tour group members. I think that was not negative. He shouted, but he said, oh, don't go to the corner. That was more like a positive one, right? So, the tour guide yelled to her tour group members not to sit too close to the edge of the mountain. All right, so I think we've got all the answers, right? So having a look at the next question, some of the places, not all, right? Some of the places marked with this symbol require prepositions, right? So you have to write the missing prepositions. My father is a man of great talent. Now, do you think we need any preposition there? My father is a man of great talent. So I think we don't require preposition there. Okay? So this is fine. Nothing wrong with it. Wherever he goes outside of work hours, he takes his briefcase, tool set and saxophone with him. Even as a guest in someone's house, he will not hesitate to offer to repair a burst pipe or change a fuse. Think about it. Okay? In these ways, he is very much his late father, my grandfather. My grandfather, Dad once told me, was a person everybody found different from anybody else they had met. He was multi-talented and he always helped anyone a problem. He also never hesitated to speak out anything he found unjust, unethical, or dishonorable. His favorite people were children. He never spoke harshly them and never allowed anyone to ill-treat them. When he died, even those who had disliked him came to pay their respect. They said he was a man fear who lived a life of integrity. Alright, so this is a reference put down for you. This has been extracted from Grammar Builder. So let us have a look at the answers. Like for number 4, with for number 6, against for number 7, to for number 8, without for number 10. Okay, so all the other sentences are correct. Okay, so let's have a look at the answers. As I told you, first one was correct, nothing wrong. Wherever he goes outside of work hours, he takes his briefcase tool set with him. There's no need for a preposition there. That's perfectly fine. Tick. Even as a guest in someone's house, he will not hesitate to offer to repair. That's perfectly fine. Again, we don't need to correct anything there. In these ways, he is very much his late father. Can we say that? No. He's very much like his late father. When you're reading the sentence itself, you feel something is missing. Okay? My grandfather, Dad once told me, was a person everybody found different from anybody else they had met. Okay, so perfectly fine. He was a multi-talented and he always helped anyone with a problem. Okay, so that again is behavioral. So I think that's fine. He also never hesitated to speak out against. So If it was not right, if it was unfair, if it was unethical, if it was dishonorable, he didn't think about it, he spoke against it, okay? His favorite people were children. He never spoke harshly to them, not at them, to them, because it was a positive behavior, okay? When he died, even those who disliked him came to pay their respect. I think that is fine. They said he was a man without, he didn't have fear, right? Without fear, who lived a life of integrity. So I think that is also all okay. All right, so moving towards our last activity, right? You have to read the passage on your own and mark with this symbol where a preposition is missing and write the preposition above the line, okay? So ladies and gentlemen, here my right, okay, here my right are the proposers, the motion. So think about it. Some prepositions are missing. Here on my right are the proposers, the what? Think about it. Again, missing something, okay? So here on my right are the proposers for the motion, okay? So you have to write it there as well, for the motion science, okay? Now you have to read it on your own. Now this time, I'm not going to help you to read it through. If there is any difficult word, what do? Stop and get the dictionary and find the meaning, okay? Because now you're in the advanced level and you should be doing things on your own, okay? So little by little, now we've done a lot of lessons. I'm going to let you go off little by little to do things on your own, all right? So please first do it on your own. Pause it if you need more time, right? And then I'll put up the answer so that you could have a look at it, okay? So here is the answer. Ladies and gentlemen, here on my right are the proposers for the motion, science has brought more evil than good to mankind. Okay, so it goes on. You've got with here, without here, like here, of here. Okay, so I hope you've got those answers. If you haven't, please go back and have a look at the rule and then come back and see if you've got this or why is your answer wrong. If you've got all of it correct, well done. That means you've understood the lesson very well. All right. So this has brought us to the end of our lesson. Okay, we had a little long lesson today. We were working along with different prepositions. Okay, we had a look at the use of these different prepositions and we had a look at some good practice questions. So with that, we come to the end of the lesson, prepositions used along with people and things.